Hello, welcome to First Chapter Friday. Our story today is the sequel to Life as We Knew It, and it is This World We Live In by Susan Beth Pfeffer. I looked up how to pronounce her name, and it is Pfeffer. As I just said, it's a German word for pepper. Just a curious little tidbit. I also learned when I looked that up that at age 6, her dad wrote a book. It was a very dry book. It had been a nonfiction. But at age 6, that's when she decided she wanted to write a book too. Okay, here we begin. Chapter 1. April 25th. I'm shivering, and I can't tell if it's because something strange is going on or because of the dream that I just had, or because I'm in the kitchen, away from the warmth of the wood stove. It's 1:15 a.m. The electricity is on, and I'm writing in my diary for the first time in weeks. I dreamed about baby Rachel. I dream about her a lot, the half-sister that I never met. Not that I know if Lisa had a girl or a boy. We haven't heard from Dad and Lisa since they stopped here on their way west, except for a couple of letters, which is more than I got from anyone else who's left. Rachel was about 5 in my dream, but she changes age a lot when I'm sleeping, so that wasn't disturbing. She was snuggled in bed, and I was reading her a bedtime story. I remember thinking how lucky she was to have a real bedroom and not have to sleep in the sunroom with Mom and Matt and John the way I have for months now. Then in the dream, the lights went out. Rachel wanted to know why. It's because of the moon, I said. She giggled, a real little girl giggle. Why would the moon be making the lights go out? She asked. So I told her everything. I explained how in May an astronaut hit the moon and knocked it a little closer to Earth, and how the moon's gravitational pull got stronger. And everything changed as a result. There were tidal waves that washed away whole cities, and earthquakes that destroyed the highways, and volcanic eruptions that threw ash into the sky, blocking out sunlight, causing famine and epidemics. All because the moon's gravitational pull was a little bit stronger than before. "What's sunlight?" she asked. That was when the dream turned into a nightmare. I wanted to describe the sunlight, only I couldn't remember what the sky looked like before the ash blocked everything. I couldn't remember blue sky or green grass or yellow dandelions. I remember the words green, yellow, and blue, but you could have just put a color chart in front of me and I would have said red for blue and purple for yellow. The only color I know now is gray. Gray, of ash and dirt and sadness. It's been less than a year since everything changed. Less than a year since hunger and darkness and death have become so commonplace. But I couldn't remember what life the way I used to know it, had been like. I couldn't remember blue. But there was baby Rachel, or little girl Rachel, in her little girl's room, asking me about how things were, and I looked at her, and she wasn't a baby Rachel anymore. She was me. Not me at 5, me the way I was a year ago. And I thought, that can't be. I'm here, on my bed, telling my half-sister a bedtime story. And I got up. I think this was all the same dream, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was 2 dreams and I've combined them. And I walked past a mirror. I looked to make sure it was really me, but I looked like Mrs. Nesbit, the way she had when I found her lying dead in her bed last fall. I was an old woman, a dead old woman. It probably was 2 dreams, since I don't remember baby Rachel after the part where I grew up. Not that it matters. Nothing matters, really. What difference does it make if I can't picture blue sky anymore? I'll never see it again. Anyway, or yellow dandelions or green grass. No one will. Nowhere on earth. None of us, those of us who are still lucky enough to be alive, will ever feel the warmth of the sun again. The moon has seen to that. But horrible as the dreams were, they weren't what woke me. It was a sound. At first, I couldn't quite place it. I knew it was a sound that I was used to hearing, but it sounded alien. Not scary, just different. And then I figured out what the sound was. It was rain. Rain hitting against the roof of the sunroom. The temperature's been warming lately, I guess because it's spring, but I couldn't believe it was rain. Real rain. And not sleet. I tiptoed out of the sunroom and I walked to the front door. All our windows are covered with plywood, except for the one in the sunroom. But it's nighttime and too dark to see anything anyway, unless you open the door. It really is rain. I don't know what it means that it's raining. There was a drought last summer and fall. We had a huge snowstorm in December and then another one later on, but it's too cold and dry for rain. I probably should have woken everyone up. It may never rain again. But I have so few chances to be alone. The sunroom is the only place in the house with heat, thanks to the firewood Matt and John spend all summer and fall chopping. We're in there together, day and night. I know I should be grateful that we have a warm place to live. I have a lot to be grateful for. We've been getting weekly food deliveries for a month now, and Mom's been letting us eat 2 meals a day. I'm still hungry, but nothing like I used to be. Matt's regained the strength he lost from the flu, and I think John's grown a little bit. Mom's gotten back to being Mom. She insists that we clean the house as best we can every day and pretend to do some schoolwork. She listens to the radio every evening so that we have some sense of what's happening in other places. Places I'll never get to see. I haven't written in my diary in a month. I used to write all the time. I stopped because I felt like things were as good as they were ever going to get, that nothing was going to change again. Only now it's raining. Something's changed, and I'm writing again. April 26. I didn't tell anyone it rained last night. When you share a room with 3 people and a cat, anything you kept secret feels good. This morning I thought maybe I dreamed the rain, the way I dreamed baby Rachel turning into me and me turning into Mrs. Nesbit. Dead Mrs. Nesbit at that. But I'm pretty sure it did rain. When I made my bedpan emptying run, it seemed like more snow had melted. I never thought that I'd yearn for mud and slush. Then again, I never thought I'd be responsible for bedpan emptying. I wonder if it rained where Dad, Lisa, and the baby are. I'd rather wonder about stuff like that than wonder if they're still alive. Sometimes I ask myself what I'd give up to see Dad again, or even to know how he is. Would I give up a meal a day for the rest of my life? Would I give up electricity? Would I give up my home? It doesn't matter. At some point, the 2 meals a day will become 1, the electricity will vanish, and we'll have to leave here just to survive. When that happens, I know I'll never see Dad again, or Lisa, or baby Rachel, who may not even exist. Because once we leave here, Dad will never be able to find us, just like we can't find him, or any of my friends who left here hoping things would be better someplace else. We stayed behind. I tell myself we've made it through the worst and we can face whatever will happen next. I tell myself what Mom always says, that as long as we're alive, hope is alive. I just wish I knew if Dad was alive as well. April 27th. It rained again. This time it rained hard for most of the afternoon. You would have thought it was raining food and sunlight and dandelions. Everyone was so excited. Even Horton tried to get out when we went to the front door to check on things. John shoved him back in. We should get pails, Mother said. Buckets, pans, anything that will hold the rainwater. We raced around the house finding containers. We got soaking wet putting them outside, and none of them filled up all that much. When we poured the water into a couple of pots, though, it looked more impressive. Do you think it'll rain again? John asked when we'd finished drying ourselves off and hung the towels in the sunroom wash line. It rained a couple nights ago, I said. Everyone stared at me. I couldn't tell if it was a good thing or not. The sound woke me up, I said. You should have told us, Mom said. We could have put the pots out. I didn't think of it, I said. I had a bad dream and I woke up and I heard the rain falling. Or maybe I heard the rain falling and then I woke up. I don't know. Mom sighed. It was her. Miranda is never going to grow up and be responsible and understand that when it's raining, she needs to let me know so I can put pots and pans outside and catch the water and make all our lives easier, Sigh. What? I said. It was raining. It didn't wake you up. It stopped raining. Now it's raining again. And for all we know, it's going to rain every day for the rest of our lives and we'll float away to sea. What if the rain washes away the snow and then it stops raining? John asked. What would we do for water? If the snow melts, the well will fill up, Mom said. As long as the pipes don't freeze, we'll be fine. Running water, I said. Now that we have electricity sometimes, it'll be a lot easier to do laundries. It's funny, Mom said. The things we used to take for granted. Water, power, and sunlight. We still don't have sunlight, Matt pointed out. And we can't count on power, or water for that matter. Mom looked at the pot with all the accumulated rainwater. It's a good sign, though, she said. A sign better things are coming. April 28th. It started raining again yesterday afternoon, and it hasn't stopped since. A heavy, steady rain. Mom decided to celebrate by giving John and me pop quizzes. John flunked his. Mom got all scowly. What difference does it make? John asked. So what if I don't learn algebra? Someday schools will be open again, Mom said. Things will be more normal. You need to do your work now for when that happens. That's never going to happen, John said. And even if schools do open somewhere, they're not going to open up here. There aren't enough people left. We don't know that, Mom said. We don't know how many people are like us, holed up, making do until times get better. I bet whoever they aren't studying algebra, John said. April 29th. I went upstairs to Mom's room to find something to read. I've read every book in my room so many times I can open to any page and recite it from memory. At least it feels that way. Mom likes biographies, which don't usually interest me, and given everything that's happened in the past year, it interests me even less. Sure, Mary Queen of Scots spent most of her life in prison and then got her head chopped off. But compared to me, she had it easy. How much volcanic ash did she have to breathe every day? One good thing about those biographies, though, is that I haven't read them. Not all of them. Not all the way through. And since I can't go to the bookstore or the library to get anything new to read, I went up to Mom's room to find something. Mom expects us to keep our bedrooms as clean as possible, even though we're rarely in them. I noticed right away that there was no dust on the furniture or even on the books. I pulled one off the shelf, looked to see if I'd find it even remotely interesting, decided I wouldn't, and I took another one instead. I noticed something sticking out of the third book that I looked at, a piece of paper about halfway in, and pulled it out. It was a shopping list. Mom had probably used it as a bookmark. Milk, romaine, OJ, WWB, butter, eggs, raspberry preserves. That was it. That was the whole list, just 7 items. It took me a moment to figure out that WWB is whole wheat bread. It's been so long since I've had bread, any bread, let alone whole wheat. It's been so long since I've eaten any of those foods. So long since I'd even thought about raspberry preserves or butter. I can't say staring at that list, and I couldn't take my eyes off of it, made me hungry, because I'm always hungry. The food we get every week is enough to keep us going, not enough to keep us full. And it sure didn't make me nostalgic. Oh, for the good old days when you could actually breathe the air and put a little raspberry preserves on your whole wheat French toast. Mary, Queen of Scots, probably missed French toast, assuming it was invented by then. But not me. I passed all that. No, it was the romaine that got me. Seeing romaine in Mom's handwriting, written who knows when, made me think about who we were, who we used to be. We were a family that ate romaine. Other families ate iceberg or bib or Boston lettuce. We ate romaine. The Evans family of Howell, Pennsylvania, favored romaine. What about other people who ate romaine and raspberry preserves? Are we the only people left on Earth who did? Somewhere there must be a place where people are eating eggs and drinking milk. I don't know where or how they get their food, but I bet somewhere in what's left of America there are places with food and electricity and lots of books to read. The president had kids. The vice president had grandkids. Millionaires and senators and movie stars had families. Those kinds of people didn't subsist on 2 cans of vegetables a day. I wonder if they make shopping lists. I wonder if they prefer romaine. April 30th. I hate Sundays. And this one feels even worse because it's the last Sunday in April. Mr. Danworth brings us our bags of food on Mondays, along with a little bit of news in the sense that there are people still living in Howell. But every Sunday, even though none of us says anything, we worry he won't show up and that the food delivery will have stopped, that things will go back to where they were in the winter, with us all alone and slowly starving. Only it would be worse now, because for a little while we've all had food, so we've all had reason to hope. If I hadn't started writing in my diary again, I wouldn't have realized it's the last Sunday in April. There's no reason to think things are going to change just because the calendar does, but it's one more thing to worry about. Maybe the food deliveries are going to last only through April. I hate Sundays. So I'm calling the next chapter May. It seems like a good breaking point. And I will give you just a little bit of hope for her survival to tell you that she gets to July in this book. And there's another sequel. It's a 3rd book in this series. So if you've read the first one and it was a whopper, it was so good, just how society started changing when the gravity had changed and all the climatic effects that it had, and how people treat each other in a time of crisis, then you will want this book, and then after, you definitely want to continue to the 3rd book. Take care, and thank you for listening.